Hello, my friends. This is Dr. Ginny Barrow. Today's topic on Start the Day with Ginny, it's about relinquishing control. Are you a control enthusiast? Raise your hand if you are. What does it mean to be tied to control? No pun intended. When we are really high on certainty as a human need, we tend to want to control everything around us. I'm going to be a little facetious. How is that working out for you? When I was starting my career, I felt that I needed to really develop my leadership skills, that I needed to retool and gain as much experience as I could so that I could add the most value. And so I went to school at night, so I'm working full time. I raised my hand to take on new projects. I volunteer whenever I saw the opportunity. And I learned a lot in the process. And as I continue to hit different milestones in my career, such as when I graduated with my MBA, I became a systems manager. At that time, I was working for Prudential. And then later on, a few years later, I started my new role as senior software engineer and project manager for Alliance, which is now called Alliance Bernstein. And little by little, I was able to build on previous experience, and I was able to direct my career in the direction that I wanted to go, which became clear to me as time went by. But I always knew that I wanted to add the most value, and associated with adding the most value came how fulfilled I felt in my role and career and my life, and also my financial well-being. Because as I was getting different degrees, as I was getting different roles and advancing and getting promoted, so was my compensation. And so control to me at that time, during that stage in my life when I was growing in my career, was about how I directed myself. I controlled whether I went to night school, I controlled whether I applied for different roles, and whether I got them was out of my control. All I could do was prepare to be qualified to get those roles. And also creating a network of people so that when I was going for certain roles, they were referred to me by my network. And therefore, when I met with the people that hired me, I came recommended from someone in my network, which was the case for the last role I held for almost 17 years before I started my own business. I was referred by my friend Cheryl to the company that I worked for a long time and where I grew the most in my career. And the control that I had then was to continue to raise my hand to ask, how can I add the most value? Continue to share with my manager, my managers, because I have multiple, about which direction I wanted to go in my career. Calibrating with them whenever opportunities came up and they would ask me and offer me the role, calibrating to see if that really was aligned with my superpowers and my strengths. And if it wasn't, I would say, thank you very much for thinking of me. I don't really see myself succeeding in that role. So getting clear on that was also under my control. What happens when you are now a full professional with years and decades of experience, and you find yourself still doing the thing that you used to do, and it's no longer working the same as it used to work? Especially when you're in a more senior role and you're looking to get to that top tranche of the senior leadership. One of my favorite books by Marshall Goldsmith is What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And the tactics that we learn in our early career no longer serve us or help us later in our career. So the reason why this topic is important for me to bring up to you is because when we get to this level, to this very senior level, the name of the game is relationships. The name of the game is connections. And the name of the game is influence. If you've gotten to this level that you're at and you're still developing your skill of influencing and connecting and building relationships, that is an essential ingredient to to make it to the very senior levels of any organization. So if you've been trying, working hard, keeping your head down, delivering results, and you have been neglecting developing your personal brand, building relationships, connecting with people across the entire organization, and influencing them with your ideas and listening to them so you can understand them better than you ever have, then you are leaving an opportunity on the table. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. How are your influencing skills? How are your connections? And how are your relationships? And if they're not what you want them to be, this is your invitation to begin to think differently about your environment and how to become a more influential leader in that environment by becoming a better listener and a better problem solver as a major contributor in your environment, not as an individual contributor. And that is my message for you. If you want to connect with me, you can always find me at callwithginny.com. Live with purpose, live with joy.